Ask the Mayor. Your chance to ask the Mayor of Weymouth questions about the town and or anything else that you have concerns about. Ask the Mayor is pre-recorded. And now it's Mayor Bob Hedlund.
Hey, welcome back, everyone, to the 99th edition of Ask the Mayor. Yes, if you can believe it, Mayor, we have done 99 shows when the customer triple different digits. What do you think about that?
It really is surprising when you think about it, number one. And number two, I think we're in the longest lag time between episodes since we've been doing the 199
Yeah, there's a couple months
shows.
going on in between now and then. Well, let's hope it's going to be worth the wait.
I seem to have been displaced from the WETC programming schedule for such rating grabbers as, you know, the 100th episode of the Jackson Square planning meeting, or the 100th rerun of that, or the ratings grabber known as TED Talk.
TED Talk is good to help if you're...
Before we get rolling here, and we do have to roll.
Yes, sorry.
We want to say goodbye to Eric and the crew. Get a shot of him on there.
Thank you, Eric, for all the great work.
Today is his last day, so if the production quality slips in the future, you know why.
You know, people say the camera adds 20 pounds, and they don't know Eric uses 40 cameras. So that's why I appear to be larger than life on this.
All right.
All right, are we ready, Robin?
We're ready.
So once again, the 99th episode. Are we the longest running program on your channel, Mayor?
Well, I mean, do you count town council?
Or
Or
negative.
Phyllis?
Not here at Ask the Mayor, we don't count. We're top dog. All right, Mayor, are you ready?
The dogs are out. It's the Ides of March. The dogs
Wait a
are
minute,
war.
I got a question. Can I ask a question? Cut all that out. Edit that out. We're wasting time.
I have a great question for the mayor. That's how the question starts. Dog owners pay $15 for the year to register their dogs. I pay more because I'm late. That's thousands upon thousands of dollars every year. How come Weymouth can't fix the website to register their dogs with that money and that they collect and actually make it work? What does the money go toward otherwise? Why was more money and time on notices being sent out instead of just paying a young website designer to fix it in a half hour's time? Perhaps somebody who may be leaving here for a tech company. The Weymouth Facebook pages have been blowing up with complaints again this year because every year the site doesn't work. Thank you, Trevor Hall. Mr. Mayor, how do you respond to this irate dog?
I haven't seen it on the Weymouth Facebook pages because I removed myself from all of the Weymouth Facebook pages.
You don't see what I write.
No, there's some legitimate complaints on there and stuff, and you know, there's a lot of information on there, but I just got burnt out reading about where's the best steak and cheese sub, and then the fellowship of the miserable complaining about, you know, you ruined the landing and everything. So, better way to get a hold of me, I guess people still try to tag me on there, is send a message through Ask the Mayor like you just did, which is excellent, or, you know,
Trevor?
direct contact by email. Now, I'm not a dog owner, so I've never had to license my dog in Weymouth, so I'm unfamiliar from that perspective as a user. I have not received any complaints lately on this issue. I will point out that our website, we've talked about this. When I came in, we brought in Division of Local Services to do kind of a audit of our town functions, and they rated, this is after we were in about a year, I think. Anyway, they rated our financial procedures very well. They rated most everything this was, I think, 1 or 2 years in, we brought them in. And the one area that Weymouth got a poor grade on, I think 2 years into my tenure, was our website. They specifically zeroed in on it. It's still a problem. We have some good people upstairs, but the content gets stale, and that's not really their job updating it. The web, what did he call it?
You need a young person. You definitely don't need me.
Instead of paying a young website designer. So I don't know about the design, but the content definitely has, things like this have to be updated. And we actually are making a change in my outer office where we're replacing a vacancy, and the person coming in is being given this additional responsibility and has those skills. So he nailed it. And probably by the time this airs, the person will be in place. So we'll look at that. Again, this is something it's good about the show, is something's brought to my attention we were unaware of. So we will fix the website then.
Well, I know I speak for every dog in Weymouth when I say rank roo. Robert, when you got a poor grade on your website...
Can I keep this for future action file?
Was it based on content? But maybe you said the website was kind of, you got some...
Not user-friendly.
It just wasn't user-friendly.
Not user-friendly, and it's still not so much the user-friendly stuff, but if you look, you'll find stale content, the things you want to get in front of people. We got to find a better means of getting it out there through the website. And the websites, I think, over time have diminished because, as an example here, he goes to Facebook for information too. So there's a lot, and I keep my page, personal page, and the town Facebook page is pretty active. This is a true story. When we came in 6 years ago, Town of Weymouth Facebook page had 18 followers.
Whoa. Seriously?
Honest to God.
It's impossible to believe.
It wasn't utilized. They didn't have anyone really handling social media. And I really became the social media coordinator initially, so.
As a young buck.
I was young then. Next question. Next question.
Wait a minute, just quickly,
Edit this part out too.
You've been talking for 95% of the show. How about edit that part out?
You don't like it.
And you keep complaining I'm interrupting.
If you don't like it, run for mayor.
All right, but stop complaining that I'm hogging the show. All right, getting back to, now I forgot what I was going to ask. All right, moving forward. Union Street property, Mr. Mayor. Hello, Mr. Mayor.
Where's Union Street? Is that the one we just paved, Jim?
In North Weymouth, there was Augusta.
Is that the one we just paved?
I'm pro Union Street, baby, all the way. That's one of the few streets I know about.
All right, Union Street property apparently is a concern. Hello, Mr. Mayor. I'm just wondering why I haven't seen any meetings on that project called Union Landing. Yet I keep seeing the same town meetings for a month of Sundays, per your earlier comment. Also, any insight as to the history of that building? So Union Landing, tell us a little bit. Thank you.
I don't know what Union Landing is. Yeah. Hold on. Mary's going to jump in, but I'm assuming, tell me if I'm correct, Union Landing is the old Whitaker Rest Home? Okay. There were meetings on it. There were absolutely meetings on it, and all that has happened, and the approvals are done, and I believe the work's being done.
It's pretty well built. It looks beautiful.
So Whitaker Rest Home, I knew Bob Whitaker. And,
you mean right outside of Columbian Square, that thing on the left-hand side?
Pretty, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So I knew Bob Whitaker. Rest homes have been basically put out of business in Massachusetts by the state, and how rest homes are reimbursed. They're dying on the vine. They're not profitable for operators. Hold on, I know you're chomping.
I'm curious about the building, yes.
And Bob held on and held on. Bob lost both legs, was a double amputee. And he was a caring, great guy. He died. The property had to be, obviously sold. There were crazy proposals for that site, including group homes, which, by the way, Weymouth hosts 38 group homes, and Hingham has like 2. And, we didn't want to see that in the heart of Columbian. So we want to see a good reuse. This was the best proposal that came along, where the building was going to be restored, I assume it's going well. We haven't really got complaints. The guy seems like a good operator. I don't think he had done other work in Weymouth, but he seems diligent, and all that happened. There were community meetings on it. And I don't remember what variances, if any, were needed, but I know that he went through all the public process with town boards.
Bob, if I may. Number one, I was unaware that building used to be a facility to house elderly people.
Yes.
Oh, no kidding. I did not realize that. And I drive by it every day. It seems like things are moving swimmingly forward. When you talk about a group home, you've used that phrase, I know. What is that? What is a group home?
We're going to kind of get off the track here.
Well, you referenced it, and you said Weymouth has a crap load of them. What is a group home?
They're homes for people with various disabilities. Some are funded by Department of Social Services or Department of Mental Health, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
So for adults, I thought it was for kids or like troubled teens or something, a group home.
Well, they can be.
They can be.
Yes.
It's a pretty wide span, huh?
You got a lot of editing to do on this to make it.
I think people, if you make a reference, I think people are going to want to know what you're referring to, a group home. That was a new one on me. Okay. We had 9 kids in my house growing up. We called that a group home. What do I know? Okay, here we go. Hello, Mayor Bob and Jim. See, I made the roster. I am important around here.
There you go.
As I tuned into a recent episode of Ask the Mayor, I was surprised to hear Mayor Bob.
There's no such thing as a recent episode. Hello.
He's hot tonight, Mayor. This could be your last day. 36 years, you're on. You two are out together. As I tuned into a recent episode of Ask the Mayor, I was surprised to hear Mayor Bob asking where I had been. Just wanted to let you know that I'm still here.
Marge. Where's Marge West?
As a person who frequently watches the community access programs, I want to say that I find them very informative and entertaining. Boy, all these thoughts are tying together in our show today. My concern is with Weymouth exploring alternatives to Comcast for our cable needs. Are we? If we do get a new cable provider, will community access be contingent upon signing a deal with the new company? The community access channels have been a way for people to keep informed about Weymouth issues, especially last year when we were having all meetings remotely via Zoom. Hopefully this is a thing of the past. Thank you, and Happy New Year from Marge West. So Marge is still here. She's doing great.
Three quick responses to that.
Please
So obviously Comcast has been a complaint here.
Yeah, forever. Number one question thing.
With all due respect to the good folks here, that is one great benefit we get from our contract with Comcast. A lot of frustration. We'd like alternatives. We've asked Verizon, everyone else, to look for competition. They won't come in. They're not wiring new communities. There's a lot of cord cutting. You look at Braintree. That was another thing. People said, why can't we have our own utility and have our own cable like Braintree? Braintree Electric Light Department just sold their
no kidding.
Their internet operation to Comcast.
Huh. Wow.
So along those lines, the industry's changing a lot. One of the things we're doing is looking at municipal broadband. We've started that process now. We've hired a consultant. You'll be getting a survey, actually, as residents, because we want to get a sense of what the buy-in could be. And we've talked about that in the past on the show. So that's in progress. Part of the mitigation money, host community money from Enbridge is funding that. And we hope that it's something that will pan out eventually and be an option for residents.
I was wondering if we could find a new cable provider, because I'm only paying $350 a month to Comcast. I was wondering if we could get up that to 5 or 6. If that would be, that would be great. I think. We are seriously looking for a new provider for Comcast. I thought there was a 10-year contract that was signed when Sue Kay walked out the door.
There was a 10-year contract.
See, I pay attention to my Ask the Mayor questions.
But it's not exclusive. Competitors come in, but competitors are not wiring communities because of the capital cost and the cost benefit for them. It's not happening anywhere, pretty much.
All right, well, lots going on in the cable category, it sounds like. Okay, hi, Bob.
Hi.
Recently, someone on Facebook has been posting fines that they have made metal detecting on town properties in Weymouth, including Emery Estate. It seems that they think they have every right to do this and claim any prizes that they find on their own. What are the rules in Weymouth for metal detecting on town-owned land, and shouldn't the town's historical society have a say in what happens to the items found on these lands? And if it is illegal to metal detect on town land without permission, maybe some signage could be added to the local parks. Thank you, from Paula Mine. So that's an interesting question. I doubt anybody's ever thought of it
and I don't know
before.
if I can answer this completely and thoroughly. I do know, for instance, if you national parks, state parks, it's not legal. You can't take artifacts out of, Wampatuck State Park. I mean, I did find a cool old milk bottle in there one time that I took. It was, I didn't dig it up. It was surface.
Did you alert the authorities?
Yeah, so I would think generally that the same rules apply to Weymouth municipal lands. We did have an instance recently, or not recently, in the last few years, where we did give some permission, and I think it was with oversight, either from our facilities people or historic, I'm not sure, to go on one of the locations, and it was either Emery or Heritage Park, so I'm not sure. But no, I think generally it is not permissible.
The only time I can ever recall seeing anybody with a metal detector is on a beach, and the beach is town property. So I mean, ipso facto, anything you find is supposed to be returned to you?
I don't know.
Yeah. Anybody have any idea if they found anything cool?
I don't think DCR enforces it on beaches.
What about he's referred to the fact on Facebook there's been some cool finds. Anybody aware of anything cool that's been found?
I'm not.
Interesting. All right, well, let's keep the show rolling. As we say, we want to remind everybody the show depends on the questions. Please keep all the questions coming into AskMayorBob@gmail.com. AskMayorBob@gmail.com. Bob, I'm putting my glasses on for this one because this one is lengthy. Hello, Mayor Hedlund. I hope you're feeling better.
Thank you.
We missed you on Veterans Day. I want to ask you a few questions in relation to keeping Weymouth clean and in compliance. Number one, there's three here. Number one, can we enforce businesses in Weymouth to be more responsible for trash in their
Is the
parking
person
lots?
that's asking this question last name begin with A?
There is no last name or initial. It just says Tracy, as a matter of
Oh,
fact.
not who I thought.
Okay. Can we enforce businesses in Weymouth to be more responsible for trash in their parking lots and around their buildings? Walmart, Lowe's, the car wash in North Weymouth has some nasty trash around it that blows into the woods and ocean. It represents our town. Would you like me to go through all three, or you want to address these one at a time?
You can take license and edit as you see fit.
Well, I will go down all three then. Number two, can we get cigarette containers, especially around the ocean area? It takes 7 to 10 years for one cigarette filter to break down in the environment and is cancerous. The poor ocean and animals. Number three, automatic rubbish pickup truck method sucks. That thing drops the barrel, tips over, and trash goes everywhere on trash pickup days. I do want to thank you for all that you do and have done for the town. Be well. See you around town. Tracy. So there's three here, Bob. Once again, can we enforce businesses in Weymouth to be more responsible?
No, I got it. Yeah, we'll take a lot of that in advisement. I think I like to consider myself environmentally conscious. We try to do things to clean up around town. There's things I'd like to see happen on a national or a state policy. Expand the bottle bill the right way. Nips are a problem. Funny story, I was at Webb State Park. There was a woman removing tinsel around the holidays from a fence. And she saw me looking and she said, yeah, this is the second time I've taken this tinsel down. It blows off and it goes into the water and affects the ecosystem, as do the nips when they wash through the catch basins. And I said, yeah, same thing with nips. They wash into the catch basins. And she yells over, yeah, Hedlund's trying to do something about that.
Oh, hey now.
I said, yeah, he is. He is. That's a good idea. That was pretty funny.
That's awesome. She didn't recognize you, huh?
No, obviously. No. So I don't know about the cigarette butt thing. I mean, you're worried about the trash cans blowing over. What's going to happen when you get full? Who's going to empty them? And they're going to blow over, you know. I do think that there was a lot of angst in the town when we changed over our system. But if you're environmentally conscious, the system we have now, implemented under the previous administration, and she took a lot of grief because people don't like change, has worked out much better for the environment, much better for the town. And Weymouth people deserve a lot of credit, as do certain employees of the town that have been on an outreach effort and an education effort. Our recycling rates have been awesome lately.
Oh, great.
Through the audits that the state conducts on us.
Wow.
And it's actually saving us a lot of money because we're not penalized as much for contaminants in our recycling stream. So bravo to the residents of Weymouth that have been diligent on that. I don't think under the old system you really had it as efficient as it is now. Yes, those things blow over and it does happen, but I don't know of a better system. I mean, unless you have maybe better containers, maybe those will come along, but it is what it is right now.
I can honestly say I don't think I've ever seen one of those things on the ground. Boy, is it a problem in your opinion?
When the
Those
winds,
things like
I
that?
see them
Yeah.
on the ground
Oh, no
all the
kidding?
time.
Wow, that's interesting. And cigarette butts being flipped
I
out
say
the
bring
windows.
back the crying Native American, I can't say Indian anymore, but bring back the crying Native, who was Italian, by the way. He wasn't.
that guy.
Better, more effective than that was the crying Indian.
Oh, yeah, that was awful. That
Or am
used
I
to make
supposed
me
to say
cry.
Native American now?
I don't know. That made
And the
me
guy was
cry.
Italian, by the way. He was
Was
an
he?
actor. Yeah, he wasn't even Native American.
That's hysterical.
He was an actor, but that was effective for us kids. And you know, I'm going to sound like a crank. Can you bring the curmudgeon guy out?
Why stop now?
Bring that curmudgeon guy out of retirement. But, you know, you hear all this stuff that the younger generation talking about, you know, global warming and it doesn't seem like the environmental consciousness is there that was there when we were kids, from what I see. I don't know. It's just my observation. That's my one editorial rant of the day. Might cost me a few votes, but whatever.
think it's
Actually, our demographics on the show are such that they're not watching.
I think it should be a $100 fine for anybody who flicks a butt out the window. It's just nonstop. I can't believe it takes 7 to 10 years. I didn't know that about those filters. They're everywhere. Obviously, it's a disgrace. All right, Robert, we may be getting to the...
Oh, and we got to change the litter laws. They're not enforceable in the state. It's a joke. Nobody is ever charged with littering, ever, because of the process. I tried to change it in the legislature. No interest. Another story for another day.
Well, I can't believe we're not going to be getting to the end of another exciting episode 99 of Ask the Mayor, but we do want to again remind
Well, we're going
everybody
to take
keep
two
the
more
coming.
questions because we might be able to edit other stuff and squeeze them in.
AskMayorBob@gmail.com. Please, once again, as always, keep the questions coming to AskMayorBob@gmail.com. All right, Robert, it is the wintertime. Shoveling sidewalks is top of mind. It is my understanding that Weymouth does not require abutting property owners to clear snow from public sidewalks. If that is the case, and the responsibility of clearing the sidewalks falls to the town of Weymouth, does the mayor have a plan to start cleaning the town sidewalks and keep its citizens from walking in traffic? This one is from Jethro Tull. Thank you, Mr. Tull. We appreciate it. You must be able to see that snow from cheery old England.
Jethro Tull was what? The guy that invented or came up with the process to plant in rows or something.
Well, that's who Jethro Tull is.
Yeah.
Fun fact, Ian Anderson. So, Robert, do we as a town require abutting property owners to clear snow from public
This
sidewalks?
is like we'll bring Joe Callahan in here to answer that and say, yeah, but on the other hand, but on the other hand, but on the other hand, but on the other hand. So technically, folks are responsible for cleaning the sidewalks in front of their homes and businesses.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's the short answer.
Okay. And so
But let's call it a gray area right now.
do you have a plan
because
to
of-
clean
because
the
of-
town sidewalks? You don't regard it as a town
Actually,
responsibility?
that's a great question. So, it's impossible to do every sidewalk in town. Impossible. I was under the impression until about a week ago as to what the strategy was by DPW, and I was informed by our DPW director during that last storm that he was holding an internal meeting, which probably occurred this week, ironically, and they were revamping the snowplow routes. The short version was the new strategy is to really be more attentive to some of the school routes, which I thought we were to a degree. But the new scheduling will basically, guys will be starting at the schools and working their way out on all the walking routes to school. Whereas before there was, other major sidewalks involved, but they're tweaking it a little bit. And we have upgraded significantly the equipment for the sidewalk. If you remember that huge storm in 15, got a lot of notoriety and attention in town. That was pre my administration. And an accounting was given of 7 sidewalk plows in the town I had at that time, of which 6 were not operating. Because it was a problem, and the mayor gave an accounting of what had happened, and the fleet was pretty beat up at that point. So they've got some more modern equipment that's more efficient, and I think overall they've done a pretty good job this year.
Well, the 99th episode is going to be what
And they get a raw deal. I mean, the big storm of a month ago now, almost a month ago. I mean, these guys come in. They come in on I think it was a Saturday at midnight, and work 24 hours, go home, get a quick break, and they're back on for 24 hours again. I mean, people's expectations in some cases are absurd. And in that big storm, I went out and plowed for 7 hours. They had a truck that wasn't getting used. I went out and did 7 hours, got to see firsthand. It was good therapy for me. I used to plow many, many years ago, and I had fun, but people just, they think everything is instantaneous. It's still, remember the whiteout conditions that day? You couldn't see. It was the worst plowing conditions I've seen in decades, until it cleared up in the evening. And it's still snowing, and people expect it to be done instantaneously. A lot of people, not everybody, So I think they've handled this winter, they've been pretty good. We had a slip up last year. We owned it, but this year I think they've been on the ball.
Well, I was going to say, this is the rose-colored glasses edition for me, our 99th. I think when I drive
And
around,
by the way,
the
Jim,
sidewalks are plowed. I think they look great. I've seen people
By the
walking on the
way-
streets. I don't believe that they're not on the sidewalk.
By the way, just like your local coffee shop and your local bank where you see the signs, help wanted, you know, the staffing situation isn't so great these days anywhere, including.
What did you get, like $35 an hour that plow day?
No, I didn't get anything. I got a cold meatball sub that had been sitting there for a day.
Well, we have time for one more question. We're here and here. I think this may be officially the longest episode in the history of Ask the Mayor, and we're going to fire
Maybe
this
not
one
the
up.
longest, but maybe the more painful.
He's cranky today, Mayor. Leave that in. Hi, Mayor. Why are you so cranky today? Hi, Mayor. What's happening with the properties from the site of the historic Rice Tavern, a.k.a. Peck's Funeral Home, now closed, to the burned-out restaurant, Newcomb's? Oh, okay, sorry. What's happening with the properties from the site of the historic Rice Tavern, a.k.a. Peck's Funeral Home, now closed, to the burned-out restaurant, Newcomb's by the Herring Run? How does the Herring Run affect the construction there? And are there any historic protections for the Rice Tavern location? That's Paula from the cemetery. So does that all that make sense? So that whole side of the
everything
street.
we've done in Jackson Square is with an eye to the Herring Run. We've made more improvements to the Herring Run that's been done in the last 100 years, fixing the flood control gate that's been responsible for thousands and tens of thousands of fish kill since the 70s. We fixed that. We've restored some tidal marshlands. We did the Puritan Road culvert. We did another culvert. We're working on replacing the culvert that runs. We just green-lighted the funding last week. There's a culvert that's failing under that section of Broad Street by Newcomb's. We're replacing the Commercial Street Bridge behind the Venetian that's fallen in. We're doing Iron Hill Park and making some improvements to the Herring Run there. So we've done a lot. The improvements that we think will happen, there's a zoning proposal that's being finalized, a zoning change that's being finalized by the planning department now. You've seen the Harriman report and public meetings that have occurred with the recommendations made by the consultants. You will see a series of public meetings on the zoning changes, both held by the council and by the planning department. Eric Papachristos, that owns the Venetian, son of Nico at Nico's, has purchased a number of those properties, some with contingencies, some with not, but he's got different proposals that he's going to come out with in conjunction with the zoning changes. So a lot happening. Stay tuned. The Rice Tavern. The problem with the Rice Tavern, I stand to be corrected on this, but my knowledge at this point is that the historic part of the building is basically where the embalming occurs. And I have not been in it. I do want to visit it if I have the opportunity, but people don't even want to walk in the thing right now. It probably is not salvageable, and I don't believe it has. There's a little disagreement going on right now, but from what I'm told, it sounds like there's no historic preservation requirements on the building. It definitely is a historic site, but by the legal definitions, it doesn't look like that thing's going to be required to be preserved.
It's a lot of change. That whole block, I gotta believe, it's a transitional block, right? I mean, that could all be
The whole
looking different.
block is primed for redevelopment, and hopefully it's going to be stuff that people like. I mean, there was just an approved project at the gas station, Godin's old place, that, you know, the last meeting was Kumbayaville and received very well, so we'll see.
All right, so a lot of change down there. All right, listen, looks like we're going to have to wrap this episode up. It was number 99. We're on our way to 100. We want to thank everybody for sending in their questions. We want to thank the mayor, as always, for his wonderful responses, and we will see you soon with episode number 100, Robert. Stay tuned for...
I don't know.
Gilligan's Island. It's been on left crazy these days. I'm the skipper. You're Gilligan.
If you have a question, please email the mayor at askmayorbob@gmail.com. That's askmayorbob@gmail.com. Maybe your question will be answered on the next episode of Ask the Mayor.
A 3-hour tour. The weather started getting rough.